All right, now this part is going to be for the pitchers and the catchers. Just because it says pitching, it's also going to be a lot for the catchers. Now, if you end up just kind of playing, first, second, short, third, or outfield, you should still know, what you're exactly doing. Now, remember, you're going to want 2 to 3 pitchers on your team, uh, because you're not going to be able to pitch the same pitcher every day anyway. So, it's good to kind of watch this part of the video as well. So for the pitching position, you have to start with your feet on the rubber. So that means that your feet have to be on the rubber. And remember, we're going to teach you the skills in class. Right now, we're just trying to get you set up right. So if I take this pitcher and move him back just a little bit, you're going to see that nice little white kind of rectangle. That would be the rubber, and you're going to want to start with your feet on that rubber. So whenever you start to pitch, that's your starting position. Now there are some rules about where your hands can be. The ball has to be. It can't be in your glove and stuff like that. We're not going to worry so much about that. We're just going to try to get these pitches off without too much of a problem or hassle on the pitching position. You do have to pitch the ball. Whenever you start your windup, you do have to follow through with a pitch, or it would be a block, and you get to take your base. So both feet on the rubber. You're going to take a signal. Now, if you're someone who can pitch a couple different pitches, yeah, by all means, go for it. If you could throw a rising fastball in softball, that's fine. If you could throw a curve or a sinker, that's fine. That's no problem. But so if you want to throw different pitches, that's fine. Your catcher should have a good idea of what pitches to call at a certain time, and you're going to be trying to execute those pitches. The more kind of pitches you're saying you're able to throw, the more chances though that you're going to end up probably messing 1 or 2 up, and that ball is going to be a wild pitch. And we'll get to that here in a minute. So your pitch motions, we will work with you in class. Like I said, this is more for just getting you used to the game and everything. But you do have to do 1 full turn with the arm rotation and follow through. Ball has to, kind of go through the plate and everything like that. So let's talk about the strike zone. You're pretty much, so talking about a strike zone, you can kind of look up some strike zones and kind of see where they're at. There are pictures of them online and everything. We'll kind of give you an outline whenever you're in the game and everything. So the umpire is going to be letting you know where that strike zone is going to be. So it's usually over top of the plate, okay, and it's from knees to elbows on a batter. So if you're a little taller, your strike zone is going to be a little bit taller. It's going to be a little bit bigger. If you're shorter, the strike zone is going to be a little bit shorter. The ump is going to establish where that strike zone is, and he or she is going to try to call that strike zone consistently. So if that ball travels through the strike zone, that means that by the time the ball reaches the plate and it goes over top of the plate, was it one over top of the plate, and was it from elbows to knees? If he says yes, that would count as a strike. If he says no, that would count as a ball. All right, so you still have 3 strikes. You have 4 balls. If you hit a batter, so if a batter gets hit, they get to automatically take the base. So if that batter gets hit, not on purpose, hopefully you're not hitting anybody on purpose, because if like I said, if it is, then we got other problems to kind of worry about. But if you do hit the batter, they automatically get to go to first base, and that pushes any other batters one base. So if there's a runner already on first base, that runner will get to go to second base. So now you'll have a runner on first and second if you hit that batter. A wild pitch. If there's a wild pitch, it gets away from the catcher. So the pitcher is going to pitch it to the catcher. Let's say that ball rolls, all the way over by this, by the batting, or by the dugout over here. That catcher is going to have to run and get that ball and try to make a play with it. So if you are a batter, nothing happens unless it's a drop third strike. We'll talk about what that is next. But wild pitch, first pitch, and the ball comes all the way over here. It takes a bounce off the ground, and the catcher rolls all the way over here. Catcher's going to have to get that ball. Let's say if there was a runner already on first base right here, they're going to probably go to second base, and that's a free pass to second base. So you want to be consistent with pitching and catching over here. Drop third strike. Let's say you have 2 strikes on you and you swing and you miss and the catcher drops that third strike. You are allowed to run. If there's no runner on first base, you are allowed to run and try to make it to first base safely. And that, it can't be a foul tip. It can't be a foul ball. It's just a drop third strike. You swing, you miss. Or you look and you miss, the umpire calls strike and you run it out. Any player who throws at least 1 pitch may not pitch again until the next game. That is a big rule. That is a CMS rule. All right, so that's just a rule for Canonsburg Middle School. So what's going to happen is, let's say and I'm just going to use these players, first baseman, and pitcher might switch. Let's say you're in the 3rd inning, right? And this pitcher, well, he's starting to get hit around a little bit. He just gave up 4 hits and 2 runs in those in the same inning. Starting to get a little, knocked around. So, your coach comes out and says, "Hey, we got to, figure out what we're doing out here." So, he gives him, a little bit longer. Well, it turns out he gives up 5 runs that inning. Well, now you're halfway, to that 10-run rule, so you got to be careful. Well, we're going to have to make a switch. Okay, so who are we going to switch with? Well, I pitch, the second pitcher we have is actually our first baseman. So we might have to switch positions just like that. Now, this number would turn into a 1. This number would turn into a 3 on your stat sheet. So he's actually going to switch, just places with the pitcher. But if this new person throws 1 pitch, that means they cannot pitch again the next game. So these people, 1, 2, are automatically can't pitch the next game. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's going to be the 1 extra player on your team, which is a DH, okay? If they're absent, that's why we kind of gave you the extra 1. But one of those players are going to have to pitch the next game. So it is a good idea to make sure that you have 2, 3, 4, 5 pitchers, at least an idea of what they're doing out here, whenever they come to pitch, because we are going to be playing by the rules. And if you send a pitcher out who is not, we're in the preseason, we'll help them out. In the regular season, we're going to kind of be playing by the rules and expect you to know what you're doing out there. All right, so just make sure we kind of follow those rules as you pitch and as the game goes on. Thanks.